I stood in front of the growth capsule that had just been repaired before a break. A skeleton originally made of magisteel, which had transformed into a unique metal called dragotite, was floating inside. Inferior beings wouldn't be able to endure the exposure to Veldora's excessive magicules. However, since Ifrit was a greater spirit, he should be able to hold his own. Oh ho, this is great. That guy will be happy as well, Veldora assured as well. I began to execute the conversion without hesitation. Report. Remains of Ifrit have been discovered. Transferring to the magic core of Charybdis. Successful. Proceeding to phase 2, constructing soul container. Merging with the body made up of dragotite. The operation was completed in an instant. As expected from Raphael-sensei, how masterful. The next moment. After Veldora, Ramiris, and I watched the body receive Ifrit's core, its form underwent drastic changes. Muscles and blood vessels started growing on the silver-black skeleton. Skin quickly formed the final layer, and just like Veldora, it had a tanned hue. Its head was veiled with wavy long hair, whose black color gave off an impressive sheen. There were highlights of red intertwined, like a burning flame was scattered within. It had golden eyes, while its dragon-like pupils glowed a deep scarlet. No matter how you looked at it, that figure was a female. And a superb beauty as well. Oh, Ifrit, how does it feel to return to the mortal realm with a body? Commented Veldora. Ah, so this femme fatale was undeniably Ifrit. Putting aside whether spirits really possessed genders, I explicitly remembered that it had a more masculine body type. How did this change happen? Veldora-sama, this is the first time I have seen you in this world. And Rimuru-sama, I am eternally grateful for you resurrecting me. Despite my confusion, Ifrit kneeled as soon as she finished speaking. I was afraid that Ifrit would rebel out of her loyalty for Leon, but it seemed that I had worried for nothing. Immense relief flooded through me. Oh, I'm glad you look well. But I want to ask you something. I wavered for a moment. Please ask away. I had so many questions. However, what I was most curious about. I recall that your previous look was more suited for combat. I mean, you looked a lot more agile moving around. And you didn't have gigantic breasts like those, right? I didn't dare say the last line out loud. I didn't have the audacity. You couldn't exactly blame me for thinking this way. Ifrit only had a few thin articles of clothing that covered her private areas. She was aiming for a super hot belly dancer outfit. Her elbows, belly, thighs were all exposed, which came off as really erotic. Are you referring to this look? Upon saying so, Ifrit suddenly sighed for some reason. I am afraid this was Veldora-sama's vow. I mean his will. She wanted to say, it was Veldora's fault, didn't she? Ifrit seemed a bit worn out, and I got the impression that she was wholly exasperated. Could it be that she's been suffering the whole time in my stomach? Now that I thought about it, Ifrit had been alone with Veldora for approximately 2 years with no means of escape. I was pretty sure she had a rough time. It was thanks to me that you got a body. Do remember to be grateful. Veldora reproached. Understood. Ifrit's reply sounded rather forced. You said it was the will of Veldora. What did you mean by that? I inquired, wanting clarification. Oh, about that. Even though I am a greater fire elemental spirit, now I can somehow wield wind elemental power as well. My hair should have been red, yet for some reason its color is mostly dark. I believe that Veldora-sama's power has influenced it greatly. Furthermore, it may have been because the Charybdis was a female that I ended up looking like this. Report. Correct. She got it right. Oi, can you really change something like gender this casually? I didn't mean to offend her, so hopefully she wouldn't hate me for it. Well, if you are not satisfied with it. How could I be unsatisfied? Putting aside my appearance, I have become far stronger than I had ever been before, Ifrit declared, while cracking a brilliant smile. Veldora had probably teased her so much to the point where she had grown accustomed to it. She seemed to be tremendously adaptable. It also made her quite affable. Unlike when she was fused with Shizu-san, I couldn't sense any malicious intent from Ifrit anymore. Do you not hate me? No, how could I hate you? Veldora-sama taught me many things while I was trapped inside Rimuru-sama. Thinking back, the sense of duty and responsibility Shizu-izawa and I both shared was very strong. However, our ideologies were diametrically opposed, and so we weren't able to build any other connections. I can't help but think that maybe we could have changed the way we treated each other. It looked like Ifrit genuinely didn't harbor even the slightest trace of resentment against me. She was even regretful to have never opened her heart up to Shizu-san. I couldn't help but feel saddened. We decided to go to a different venue to discuss plans for the future. Thus, I chatted with Ifrit for a while. Just as I suspected, she truly had endured arduous hardships. Before I knew it, she grew on me. If I were to appoint anyone to deal with Veldora, then I would appoint her without hesitation. She was still reminiscent of Demon Lord Leon, but not to the point of pledging her loyalty to him again. Even though Rimuru-sama defeated and almost killed me, I was lucky enough to have been saved by Veldora-sama, so that my consciousness wasn't erased. That said, I am self-aware, now as well, and I feel different from before. I still think that Leon-sama is an incredible demon lord, but I wish to pledge my loyalty to Veldora-sama now, she explained, clearly expressing her will. I believed Ifrit was worthy of my trust, and besides, Veldora seemed to have complete confidence in her from the beginning. I probably didn't need to worry that much. I understand. Then please continue to work hard in the future as Veldora's assistant. Yes, sir. I am willing to give it my all and pledge my loyalty to Veldora-sama. Ifrit sure was serious. I still felt kind of bugged with the whole ordeal regarding Shizu-sen. But since Ifrit had shown remorse, it was all water under the bridge. And so, I decided to accept Ifrit. By the way, Rimuru, I have something else to discuss with you, Veldora slyly added. What is it again? I legitimately did not want to deal with any more of these annoyances. Yet if I ignored him, he'd probably nag me to death. What is it, Veldora-kun? Here's the thing, I want to name Ifrit. You see, Ifrit is an individual name, but at the same time it's not. That's because all the greater fire elemental spears summoned through the spear summoning flame giant Ifrit are called Ifrit. Wow, a surprisingly serious suggestion. A name, indeed, was warranted. However, naming could be very dangerous. Now, even if I, who had experienced several miscalculations during naming, was saying this, then you knew it was credible. Would it be dangerous naming Ifrit now? Your magicule content is huge, but there's gonna be a big problem if you don't know how much to give. Giving too many magicules had the same effect as poisoning, and the one being named would be in danger as well. The fact that no accidents happened during my namings was purely due to good luck. Gahahaha, but I can leave all that to you, right? If I were to give away too much, you should be able to cut me off with our soul corridor. That would indeed be safer. Report. Please leave it to me. Well, since Raphael said so, we should be fine. Very well, I shall assist you, I declared. Oh, I knew you'd say so. And so, Veldora named Ifrit. Ifrit, from today onward you shall be known as Charys, he proclaimed in a majestic tone. Charys, that would be Ifrit's name. Clearly, the name Charys had nothing to do with Ifrit, but instead was an abridged version of Charybdis. Although, in my honest opinion, a name like Iris would have been more fitting. However, it would have been a bit too rude to interject now. Through the soul corridor I observed a large amount of magicules disappear from Veldora's body. Ifrit's magicule content was already at special rank A, meaning she rivaled the strength of a calamity class monster. While she was weaker than Xion and Benimaru, she could put up an even fight against Sai and Geld. And now that Ifrit received a name. Understood. I shall henceforth be known as Charys. I pledge my loyalty to the servitude of the great Veldora-sama. Ifrit accepted her name. At that instant, Raphael shut down Soul Corridor and cut off Veldora's power. It worked. Veldora successfully named Ifrit. The flame giant began to evolve. It was practically exploding with magicules, rapidly reaching the level of a demon lord class. Ifrit not only surpassed Trainee-san, but seemed to have even surpassed Carrion and Free. Report. Greater Spirit Flame Giant Ifrit has evolved into Flame Lord. Raphael-san dutifully notified me. A Flame Lord, you say? This race was a spiritual life form that gained a physical body through monsterification, essentially, exposure to a massive amount of magicules. Gahahaha. Well done. I knew I could count on you, Rimuru. Veldora-san sounded particularly pleased, yet he frowned as soon as he saw Ifrit. Her appearance had greatly altered once again. Or rather, it was restored to its original form. Its hair was still the same pattern of black and red, but its body had reverted back to more masculine proportions. Although some changes remained, Ifrit's will might have strongly influenced this physical transformation. Tisk, and I went the extra mile for fun. I mean, I thought you'd look better, so I made you beautiful. I never knew it'd turn out like this, Veldora complained. So it was his fault, after all. Ifrit. I mean, Charys, sighed in resignation. I see that it was true. I should have said so. Luckily, my will has triumphed, which is reassuring. That said, I can change back to my female form if you were to insist. No need, I was just joking around. I won't complain if you can maintain your preferred form. Veldora's jokes were so lame. Even though Charys successfully restored his appearance, he had the option of reverting back to his old look. I needed to be careful in the future as well. How are you feeling? I feel very good, my lord. This is. After my question, Charys suddenly realized the change in his body. Dazed, he began to confirm his strength. Saw such tremendous power. He was taken aback by his own power. Kukuku, you got that right. Veldora-san gave off a satisfied smile like he had predicted this outcome. About your race, you apparently evolved into a Flame Lord, I casually added. You said Flame Lord. I cannot believe that I now wield such power. I suppose he really couldn't. To suddenly gain the strength to rival those of the Demon Lord class immediately after being resurrected, it was no wonder he had such a reaction. Despite the fact that you became this strong, your job was still to take care of Veldora. In addition, if you were to become too powerful, you had to be wary of Veldora exploiting you even more. I was becoming somewhat sympathetic to our new addition. And so, we gained a new companion by the name of Charys. It wasn't long before Charys settled in and immediately began being exploited by both Veldora and Ramiris. Although my worries came true, he didn't seem to mind, so I guess it was fine. With this new assistant, our efficiency in researching improved significantly. Since when did we get such a tough guy as our new member? Dino asked, dumbfounded. When you were still addicted to playing with magic marble combinations, I replied. No, you made it sound so simple. This is a spirit lord that can rival demon lords we're talking about here. Actually, it's a monster spirit lord. Whatever. I don't give a crap what type of lord it is. That's not my point. Dino was the only one who was shocked. Meanwhile, everyone else was already accustomed to this sort of outcome. Don't get so worked up now. This type of thing just happens, you know, added Vesta. No, but, Vesta-san. Ramiris also comforted Dino by saying, Dino-chan, you shouldn't be surprised at trivial things like these while spending time with Rimuru and Mentor. But, that's... Dino was incapable of accepting this reality. However, he finally relented after everyone talked it out with him. You get used to it. Sometimes, it was better to not overthink things.